Hey everyone, Hammer Down Harry here and welcome back to another edition of Hammer Down Ranked, where we rank the albums from some of my favourite bands. Now today we're going in a slightly different direction to the last few videos. We're going to go down a country rock route and talk about one of my favourite country rock bands of all, the Steel Woods. So the Steel Woods are a country rock band from Nashville, Tennessee, and they released 4 studio albums between 2017 and 2023 before the band ended up breaking up. Unfortunately, this band went through some significant tragedy a couple of years ago that ended up with the band not choosing to continue any further than the recent album in 2023. So the band was founded by Wes Bayliss and Jason Rowdy Cope. Bayliss is the lead singer, key instrumentalist in the band, and a co-producer, whereas Cope is the key songwriter, lead guitarist, and co-producer as well. Prior to the Steel Woods, Cope had worked with people like Jamie Johnson and co-wrote songs with him over a 9-year period, and upon forming the Steel Woods and releasing debut album in 2017, the band was described as the new Lynyrd Skynyrd. Yes, Bayliss really does have that good of a voice. The band also recruited Johnny Stanton, Tyler Powers and Isaac Senti to complete the lineup. So we're going to be going through the band's brief history today and ranking the 4 albums that they've released. Starting with, in number 4, 2023's On Your Time. So, On Your Time was the first and only record to be released without Cope on the record. As we're going to come back to later on, Cope had passed away in January 2021, and this was the first offering without him involved in the writing process. With the band's key songwriter gone, it would have been a very tall order to ask for the band to be able to create as much magic as with the first 3 albums, but it has to be said that this album is by no way a bad album. In fact, it's not even far away from the other 3, and to be honest, the fact that one of the key songwriters had departed from the band, this album is still an incredible piece of work and lives up to the rest of the Steel Woods library. In my opinion, in the wake of the tragedy, in fact, this is an incredible body of work that really shows what all of the musicians in the band were capable of, especially Wes Bayliss. Some great songs on this album, Devil in This Holler and If Not for the Rain, but my personal favourite, a song which is actually my favourite Steel Woods song of all time, sitting in amongst this album, is Cut the Grass. A beautiful sentiment on getting work done today to enjoy things tomorrow. I think it's a beautiful message, and every time I listen to that chorus, it just reminds me why I work so hard every day. It really does. It's a beautiful song. But moving on to album in number 3, we've got 2019's Old News. The band had been touring extensively, touring with Lynyrd Skynyrd, some of the band's idols, and a band that were often compared to them, which is an honour, I'm sure. They'd also been touring a lot with Blackberry Smoke, which is my other favourite country rock band. Blackberry Smoke and the Steel Woods, my 2 favourite country rock bands. They were due to tour at the end of this year together, and I'm so sad that the Steel Woods have chosen to call it a day and cancel their European tour, because I would have loved to have seen both those bands here in the UK. Now, this was the first album where all of the band contributed in the writing of the music. The first album was written solely by Cope and Bayliss, whereas the other guys who got more involved in this album. It also has my favourite album cover from any of the Steel Woods records. It's a beautiful bit of newspaper, and if you sit and read all the texts on it, it's actually a really lovely read. Really beautiful album cover. I love it. The album kicks off with the bouncy and upbeat all of these years, and in the same vein later on in the record, Compared to a Soul. But there's also classic Steel Woods emotional songs like The Rock That Says My Name and Old News, both of which show the exceptional storytelling that these guys have. The lyrics that Wes writes for these songs are absolutely beautiful and always tell a really stunning story. But before we do the top 2, we're going to talk about my shirt of the week. Grunge rock band from Manchester, Cages for Preachers. Now, this shirt has a far cooler back design to start off with.
I think this is pretty cool.
I was lucky enough to work with these guys on tour a couple of weeks ago. They were the supporting band on the In Search of Sun tour at the Manchester date. They were amazing. Really cool band. Now, since then, I've gone back and listened to a lot of their tracks. They're really cool. In particular, Blind Leading the Blind and Bury the Hatchet are my 2 favourite tunes. They have a more recent single as well, Heaven Has Fallen, and they now have 6 tracks out overall. They've got a big year coming up, lots more stuff to be announced, so do keep your eye on the socials. As always, I'm going to post some links in the description of this video to Cages for Preachers. Have a little listen to the band, check out their Spotify, follow their socials. The new songs that they've got coming are absolutely fantastic. I've heard 1 or 2 of them that they played live, and I'm telling you, the songwriting is marvellous. They're really good musicians, and I can't wait to see what they've got. I'm probably going to be booking them for Hammer Down Festival 2025, so get ahead of the curve and check out Cages for Preachers. But moving on, We're going to get back to the Steel Woods. We've got 2 albums to go. And in number 2, we've got 2021's All of Your Stones. By the end of 2020, this album was pretty much ready to go. However, on January the 16th, 2021, we had the untimely passing of Jason Rowdy Cope. I don't know all of the details, but he did struggle with diabetes for a long time. What some sources claim to be his cause of death, I don't know for sure. But it's a tragic story of a musician, an incredible songwriter. And this album then lays tribute to him. Absolutely heartbreaking that this was only the 3rd album with the Steel Woods as a complete unit with Jason in the band. I would have loved, of course, to have heard many, many more albums from him. Songs like Out of the Blue on this album are particularly awesome. I love the strings in the intro and post-choruses of the song You're Cold, and then the slow and beautiful I Need You and Aiming for You, where the songs progress and get bigger and bigger and bigger throughout. Aiming for You is over 7 minutes long and it's a stunning piece of musicianship. Definitely check it out. The song progression is excellent. But we have a true storytelling masterclass buried into this album. It is Old Pal, a song written about an old friend passing. Absolutely tragic that on this 3rd album, just before Jason's passing, they write a really stunning and beautiful song about losing a friend. And what a perfect tribute it is. Some of the lines in this song are absolutely beautiful. The wind cuts like razors when I open up the door. When it rains, it pours like it never has before. When the sun shines, it burns me through my shirt. It's beautiful. And what I really like about the storytelling on this particular song is all of the specifics that they reference. Coach Davison retiring and actually getting fired, taking the character in the song Sister Becky to the prom, but saying, hey man, it ain't like that, don't worry. It's just wonderful, wonderful storytelling. Truly beautiful song, and a song that has really stayed with me. But number 1, now this is the first band on our list to have the debut album as the best, 2017 Straw in the Wind. We haven't done a video yet where the debut album has been number 1 on the list. Bayliss and Cope had only known each other for a handful of months before this album was written and recorded. It's an outstanding piece of work in such a short space of time between 2, not even 4 or 5 people. It's an incredible bit of songwriting. It's a critically acclaimed album, probably one of the best debut albums I've ever heard in my life. People were immediately hailing them as the new Lynyrd Skynyrd. The songs Better in the Fall, Straw in the Wind, whatever it means to you, a song all about superstition, which I think is a really, really cool song. I haven't heard a song like that before. And The Well, all display what an incredible band they would turn out to be. Now, this album did incredibly well. The video for Straw in the Wind has recently surpassed 10 million views on YouTube, and this album is absolutely deserving of its number 1 spot. So that's it, the top 4 albums from the Steel Woods. They announced on the 28th of March this year that they were no more, in a long statement from Wes citing that he was regaining a close relationship with God, taking time away, and they made a very important point about how they said that they always wanted to enjoy it, and they've really, really done an incredible job over the last few years. But the toll of doing all of the songwriting had started to wear on him, and he understandably decided that this was the time to call it a day. The Steel Woods will probably never ever see this video, but this band helped me through some really, really tough times with those first 2 albums, going through the COVID pandemic by myself. I'd lost my job, I'd lost a lot that I don't really want to talk about here, but everything was pretty hard for everybody in the world. I'm walking along beaches on the Isle of Wight when my auntie and uncle were taking me in after I'd become homeless. Yes, that did really happen. The Steel Woods and those first 2 albums, this album in particular, really, really helped me, and I owe this band so much. They're an incredible band, and although I understand completely the fact that they're calling it a day, so yeah, I owe this band a lot. They're amazing, and I'm going to be continuing to listen to their albums for a very, very long time. Thank you, the Steel Woods, for everything that you've done.